And there he is, the Vicious Fledgling, on the board. Oh look, there's another one. So, on turn 1, I was able to get these 3 minions out onto the board. It was disgusting. Because I had Innovate and I had the coin. Just sickening, right? Just sickening. And now my fledgling is growing. Now usually what happens with a Vicious Fledgling is it will die. The first one will just die. There'll be AoE, there'll be some way of removing it. But what they don't anticipate is the second one coming straight after. So if you look back at my channel, I've played a lot of Wild Mode recently, and I've played Jackie Chan's Egg Druid, or Token Druid, and I enjoyed it a lot, had a lot of fun. I don't play a lot of Druid on standard mode, but I saw this deck by Frozen, who's a phenomenal pro player, and I thought, yeah, I've got to try this deck out. I want to see what all the Vicious Fledgling hype is all about. And there is Windfury. Instant pick. Instant pick. And there is the misplay. I picked it twice. Do you know when you react to something instantly and you see it, you want it, you click it? Well, that's what I did. Major misplay. Yeah, major misplay. You see the word Windfury and you get very excited. Well, it was a mistake. And now the Druid is doing the best he can to recover. Violet Teacher would suggest that he's also playing, I guess, a token-heavy deck. We will not make the same mistake again. We will not select Windfury a second time. I'm going to go with Taunt here, just to protect myself from something silly like Savage Roar. He's going to be short of mana next turn, but he could innovate out a Savage Roar. So we just want to do everything we can to protect ourselves and to deal damage to his face, putting him in lethal range, hopefully, next turn. He could clear my board, and then he could hero... Oh, well, no, he can't hero power, so he's essentially dead. If he can't kill me now, he's basically dead. This is actually quite close. This is actually quite close. This game proves that Living Mana is a phenomenal recovery tool. Not just for pushing aggression, but for killing enemy minions on the board. So yeah, this is the Frozen Druid. We misplayed that initial game horribly because I selected Windfury twice on the same turn, and yet we still won. How broken then is Vicious Fledgling as a card? It's disgusting. So how do you play the deck? Well, a bit like on Wild Mode with Token Druid or Egg Druid, you know, you look to get the early game out. You know, and you may have Innovate to get some more bodies out, then you buff those bodies using Power of the Wild and Mark of the Lotus. But there's some late game, there are some late game threats too. There's Bittertide Hydra, Druid of the Claw too, and Shell Shifter for defense. So this deck plays defense and offense. That's pretty interesting. And of course, Living Mana, which is just disgustingly broken, particularly if you can buff it with the likes of Mark of the Lotus. So let's have a look at this deck in action, a full game here against a Hunter. Now this is a bit of a dream hand here. We have the coin, which is highly beneficial because we can just play lots of stuff. That's how I'm going to categorize it, and play a buff and just laugh and win the game. Well, that's the plan. One thing Hunter can do, though, is it can contest your early game, because it has its own early game. But the Firefly and Flame Elemental here have 2 health. They contest the 2 cats, the 1/1 minions that are on the board. That's actually pretty good. Now, it was the coin that allowed me to play both of those minions. But this is how hunters run away with a game. A Scavenging Hyena, which is, I guess, a bit like my Vicious Fledgling. It's overpowered in the right circumstances, in the right situation. But look, I can kill it. I can kill it. And that was worthy of a... Yeah, that was worthy of a my greetings there. He's not happy. He's really, really not happy about this. And I think now, with what I have in my hand, I think this game is mine for the taking. As we head to the late game, and or the mid game even, and he starts hero powering more often, my Druid hero power will negate his hero power by 1 damage. So that's something to think about, because I have a feeling that I'll be emptying my hand very quickly. I'm not going to be keeping much in hand, so there will be opportunities for me to hero power every turn very shortly. Infested Wolf. Oh, hello. That's so insane. Do I want to kill it? No. The reason for killing the wolf would be that it synergizes with Houndmaster, but we don't care. If we just draw a Savage Roar, I think he's pretty much dead. Yeah, he's dead. If we draw a Savage Roar, and if he can't get through the 4/6, he is dead. Absolutely and utterly dead. Oh, greetings to me! And... just trade everything? Sure. Okay, so this is all about the board presence here. There's the hero power again. But my board is just superior to his. And there's a Hydra. And we may as well do this. We may as well do this. This is fine. Trying to decide there between face and trading. Yeah, and we're just going to clear the board. There is no reason to keep a beast on the board. There is synergy with kill command. Right, so he's basically dead. I mean, we drew really, really well, didn't we? We had a perfect curve, perfect buffs. Savannah Highmane in this instance is way too slow for him. That's a dead card, but it doesn't matter. Because he's dead. And he's not happy. And we just get our BM in there, we get our remotes in. That was a fun game. Fun for me, not fun for him. Alright, so the Frozen Aggro Druid. Good deck. But only if you get those early game cards with the buff effects. That's the key. We didn't really get a chance to play around with Shell Shifter or Druid of the Claw in those games. So they are defensive options. But as I say, you do need the early curve, and if you don't get the early curve, yes, you do have recovery mechanics in Living Mana. Living Mana is a recovery mechanic because it fills the board. You can use the bodies on the board to then trade with enemy minions. You can buff them up, especially with Mark of the Lotus. That's pretty easy, pretty good. So yes, recovery mechanics do exist. However, as I say, it can be tough if that curve does not exist. So if you're a lucky player who always gets a good curve, this deck is pretty much invincible. You will kill them very quickly with the Fledgling. If you are an unlucky player, like me a lot of the time, and you don't get a great curve, you just have to hope and pray that the likes of Living Mana and Druid of the Claw can still win you the game. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. Really appreciate everyone's support watching my videos. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon.